Hey, how's everybody doing tonight or today or whatever time it is where you're at? This is Mark Brody, and I'm back here with another episode of Coffee Talk with Brohawk. And I once again have my friend and industry colleague Milan Batinich joining me. Milan, thank you very much for being our guest today. You were actually my first guest when I launched Coffee Talk with Brohawk a couple years ago. And now we're almost up to 50 episodes.
Wow.
Um, can you tell our viewers a little bit about what you've been up to these days?
Yeah. Well, Mark, first of all, thank you so much for having me again. I don't know if this is my second or third time on, but I'm thrilled. I'm always thrilled when you and I get a chance to chat and
Yes.
collaborate, even on a Sunday evening. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Uh, you know, we always got to make time for each other there.
That's right.
I
That's
think it's
right.
actually your third time on.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to let Rob Dwyer know about that.
Yes, yes. Maybe we can have a joint session one of these times.
Oh, that's a good idea, actually.
Yeah.
All right, sorry.
Excellent.
Anyways, I digress. What have I been up to lately? So, actually, I just launched, well, officially started the company in January of this year, but
Okay.
just launched the website and social media accounts on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram on Friday. But
Okay.
a company called Milan Motivates, you can see the logo there on the
Nice.
shirt. Um,
Excellent.
yeah, so it's a professional development, individual coaching, public speaking company where we focus on helping individuals develop self awareness for themselves, how they impact other people, better understanding of what type of work would bring them joy. And then also we do some keynotes, some workshops, half day workshops, full day workshops, helping companies organize and develop their teams, so better team cohesion and all of the above. And like I said, individual coaching, one-on-one coaching. And in addition to that, I also signed on recently as a VP of Business Development for Callzilla. So
Nice.
excited about that opportunity as well. And I think our conversation tonight is going to be more around the Milan Motivates, which is it's a business as part of the Milan Batinich group. You know, when I was
There you go.
researching this late last year, I'm like, what do I call this? What do I just call it like
Yeah.
Milan LLC or what do I do? And I can't remember, Mark, it might have been you. I can't remember who suggested you should put group after your name. Because then it sounds like it's this big, Fortune 500 type company. So
Yes.
the Milan Batinich group.
I love it. I love it. So, you said, I mean, you've recently launched. I know you're starting to get some things,
Yeah.
moving and whatnot. Everybody asks solopreneurs or folks that launch their own business, why are you doing this to yourself? So what for you, what was the driving force behind launching Milan Motivates and the Milan Batinich Group?
So yeah, no, that's a great question. Why are you doing this to yourself? I love that. I love that. Uh, so so many years ago, I always thought it would be cool to be an entrepreneur. I've worked for huge companies, Fortune 100 companies. I've worked for small startups, and I've enjoyed, my journey. Um, but I've never really figured out what I want to do. I went to college to be a meteorologist,
Yeah.
and during that time, took a job in a contact center, and that was 20 years ago. And yeah, 20-ish years ago, and never really looked back. So it's always been this, what do I want to do when I grow up type of scenario. And
Yes.
and probably over the last, I don't know, year or two,
Mhm.
really developed a passion and a love for, well, I've always loved serving and helping others, but being
Uh-huh.
able to do so through public speaking, I've really developed a love and passion for public speaking. And yeah, so I was like, well, are there companies out there that hire motivational speakers? And I'm like, not really. You can speak for John Maxwell or Tony Robbins, but as a, independent third party, speaking their philosophy. So I was like, well, what if I just went out on my own and did it, and got some help from you, from some other friends, and here we are, April. What is it? April 23rd, and
Yeah.
I have a business that launched 48 hours ago.
That is awesome. That is awesome. I think that anybody that's seen you speak before knows how much passion you have for the topics that you're speaking about. Whether it be on your personal journey, um, and I mean, you and I have known each other for a few years now.
Almost
Um,
a decade, Mark. I think it's
I
7 years.
know, I know. It's been a minute or two, and I mean, just the personal transformation that I've seen you have, over the years has been awesome for as an outsider watching it.
Thank you.
And then when you team that up or combine that with the passion that you have for the work that you do, I don't think you're ever going to work another day in your life. I'm just
That,
saying.
that is so true. It's a Sunday
Yeah.
night right now, and I
Mhm.
don't think I doubt I'll ever have that Sunday evening feeling again. That dread that
Yes.
comes over you where it's like, oh, I have to go to work tomorrow, and either I hate the company I work for, I hate the work I'm doing, and Mark, I know we've talked about it before. Anytime somebody's doing a job or doing work that
Yes.
isn't a good fit for them, it drains their energy, and you just become
Hmm.
exhausted. And that Sunday night feeling, I've experienced it in the past where Sunday nights, it's like, oh, I'm dreading already the upcoming week just because I was so disconnected from the work. And there's a term, maybe I'll trademark it one day,
Uh-huh.
but I call it JEPP, JEPPP. And really, my mission with Milan Motivates is to help people find joy. That's the J,
Okay.
energy, passion, peace, and purpose. So, joy,
Nice.
energy, passion, peace, and purpose in the work that they're doing, the role, the company, all of that. And I mean, ultimately, that's pretty much the mission in a nutshell. So, uh, yeah, you're right. I don't think I'll ever not knock on wood. I have a glass desk, but if there was wood around here, knock on wood, that I won't ever have that Sunday night blues again.
You know, um, you just talked a little bit about Jeff, and as you and I have talked, offline before about, that the work that you do has to meet that bar for yourself.
Right,
So when you're talking about this with other people, or in a group setting, it's not that you're not just throwing out stuff that you don't truly believe in or that you
right.
think will, stick in a conversation. This is stuff that you actually believe in and
Yeah,
that you use as a guiding force, or I don't want to go all Star Wars, may the force be with you, or I know it's almost the May the 4th, but um
that's right.
you know um but as a almost like a lighthouse, if it's not meeting these requirements for you, then you're not going to do it.
Right, right. And that's 100% accurate. So I worked for a company before, where I almost did it like a checklist where I was on the fence. I was newer with the company and I was thinking, is this a good fit for me? And so I
Mhm.
was sitting in an airport, actually right down the road from you, Mark, there in Austin.
Yes.
And before I boarded my flight, I went through and I'm like, well, I advise other people or consult or coach other people to do this. So let me do
Mhm.
this on myself. Let me coach myself. Does this job bring me joy? I'm like, no. Does it bring me
Yes.
energy? No, it's the opposite. It zaps my energy, drains my
Yeah.
energy. Am I passionate about the work I'm doing? No. And now I'm 0 for 3. And then I'm like, okay, do I feel at peace with the work I'm doing? If I feel at peace, like peace goes a long way. And
Yeah.
purpose, the last one. And I'm like, am I feeling peace? I'm like, no, I'm having nightmares every night when I fall asleep while I'm at this job, about the job. And then, am I fulfilling any type of intrinsic purpose for myself or extrinsic where I'm helping other people? And I'm like,
Mhm.
no, I'm helping other people's pocketbook, but
Yeah.
not really helping other people. So I'm like, okay, so out of the 5 characteristics or attributes that I coach other people on, I
Hmm.
just checked 0 out of 5. And so I made the decision right then and there that,
Sure.
I was boarding my flight home to Chicago and decided right then and there that this is not the right role for me. And plus, I thought about how can I be in a role where I can't even check one of the 5 boxes? and then get
Yeah.
on a call with somebody that I'm coaching and say, well, you should probably leave your job and or find a different job because it doesn't sound like you're able to check these boxes. While at the same time, I'm at a job where I can check zero of the
Yes.
boxes.
Oh man, I love it. I mean, um, the fact that you live these values, is amazing because I mean, there's a lot of great speakers out here, and I'm sure that they all live the values that they espouse as well. But just to see this as a guiding force as to the why, this is your why.
Right,
You
right,
went and you created the Milan Batinich group and Milan Motivates is to help people create their own story, it sounds like,
right.
you
Yeah,
know.
absolutely. And I wish I would have known about all this at a younger age.
Yes. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
You've had a I mean, this is a great segue because someone who has had a very successful career and like you said, we've known each other for 7, 8, 9 years.
yeah,
I'm particularly interested about learning about your thoughts on this.
sure.
At this stage in my career, so that think about it this way. At this stage in my career, I wish I could tell my younger self X. And how would this have helped me navigate my career?
So can I give you very briefly, can I give you four X's?
Yes, yes, please do.
Okay, great, great. Thank you. Number one, getting rid of ego.
Okay.
So a lot of ego and pride is, caring what other people think about you. And while I still care to a certain point what other people think of me, that
Mhm.
used to be like I was a big time. And Mark, you probably remember this when we first started working together years ago. I was very much a people pleaser. Even
Mhm.
if I disagreed 100% with what the other person was saying, I was like, oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, you said the sky's clearly blue, but you said the sky is purple or some other color that it's not. Sure, that sounds great. Yeah, yeah, I'll just go along with that. But part of it was that ego. So telling my younger self, like, get rid of the ego, stop caring so much about what other people think
Mhm.
about you, because that definitely caused a lot of turmoil throughout my career. Um, Number two, I would say I would tell my younger self to read books, read more, because I think over the last couple of years, what's really helped me a ton in figuring out my why. I love that you said that, Mark. Figuring out my why. What's really helped me probably the most is reading books. Where before
Okay.
I would read here or there,
Yeah.
but really exploring and trying different topics, nonfiction and all that. But just trying reading different books, I learned so much and really helped me develop my why. It's like, this is what I need to be doing because even up until a year and a half, 2 years ago, I'm like, why am I here? Like, what is my
Yes.
purpose? Well, what should I be doing? Like, I'm going through the motions, I'm in sales, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, but it's not fulfilling. There's feels like there's no purpose or peace.
Okay.
Um, and then I would say tell myself maybe read a certain book or books or Google it, but figure out how to become self-aware. So understanding what I need and then
Mhm.
understanding how my styles impact other people. When I first started in the management role back at West with American Express for a contact center, I wish I would have known that because the training I
Mm.
received was, well, you got to develop your own management style and then your employees have to put up with it. And that's number four. I wish
Yeah.
my younger self, if I can tell them, learn the platinum rule, learn how to manage people the way they want to be managed versus you have a management style. Your employees have to adapt to you, even if your management style is terrible. Um, so those four things. So reading more, becoming self-aware, managing others the way they want to be managed, and getting rid of the ego in no particular order. Um,
Yeah.
they all tie for number one.
I remember you and I traveled quite a bit together,
Yes.
over the years. And one of the things that I can remember is um, we were on a trip and we were having some pretty intense discussions, and I was very passionate about a certain topic, and I remember looking over at you and you weren't saying anything.
Yeah.
I'm like I'm like Milan, I know you disagree with me right now, because and this goes back to the people pleaser,
Yeah.
because you weren't saying anything, and when I mentioned it to you, you're like, you kind of acknowledged it, and then we were able to have that valuable conversation after that.
Okay.
Whether
You know,
whether
and I can't remember which one specifically. I was thinking it was another conversation where I was the third party
ah
watching the
yeah,
conversation.
no, no, no,
So
no, no.
offline, you have to remind me of the time when I disagreed with you, but I wouldn't tell you I disagreed with you.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's all part of, like you said, checking the ego don't care about what people are thinking, or how they may view your responses to them, um, because everybody's going to look at things with a different lens.
Right, you're right, Mark. A different perspective, and I think a really good way, if I can use maybe like a real world scenario, is it's helped me because some people will be like, well, are you just so nonchalant? You don't care what other people think? It's not so much that, but much more relaxed, less stressed out about how will people take this. And it's not that I'm communicating inappropriately or brash or anything like that. What I found, even especially very recently, is where before I'm still a competitive person at the root of who I am, but instead of always trying to compete and be like, no, this is my account, no, this is mine. I talked to them. I was the one that convinced them. I was the one that convinced them to renew their contract with us or whatever it is. I get trying to let go of the ego more and more and more and
Mhm.
more. I've noticed I'm more of and I said I again, but I'm more of a team player, where it's like, what is best for the team? I may have closed the deal, but what's best for the team? What's best for the team is that the company's growing. We close the deal. We're working together. We are managing the client or the account. Where, even up until a year ago, 2 years ago, I was very much like, I talked to them at the conference, so they should be my account versus why can't we just work as a team? And ever since then, it's life has become so much easier.
Yes,
Where before it was like I must have the glory, I must have the credit. Where now it's
yes,
like, no, it's a we. Like we all work on all this stuff. We do this together, and it's so much easier for me now to give other people credit and even give other people credit when maybe I was the one involved. But like I'm to the point now, and maybe somebody told me the other day, they're like, well, maybe it's you're maturing. I said I'm definitely trying to mature, but
uh-huh.
they're like maybe that comes like with your age, and I'm like I don't know. I'm like I think it comes with some of these books I've read, um, but where I'm to the point now where it's just I notice when I'm very much like I did this, I conquered this, I accomplished this, like all of a sudden my heart beats fast and I get very stressed out. But when I'm like, we or like, why don't we like do this or asking people for help? Like, hey, I need help with, approaching, how would you approach this client or how would you approach this prospect or how would you do this or how would you do that? How would you word this? Where before I was very much like, I'll figure it out on my own because I'm competitive. I don't want to show
Yes.
weakness. Where now it's like, I'm asking for help. It's just so like chillaxed now. I don't know any better way to explain it, but it's like when I don't worry about like receiving the credit, it's like I don't know. It's just so much, and it does sound nonchalant, but I'm just a lot more chill internally in my mind, in my heart, and all that. Where it's just like, who care? I don't care who gets the credit. Let's just help the employer. Let's help the client. Let's help the customer in whatever they need to do. And whoever gets the credit gets the credit. Like I don't care. Where before it was like I must get the credit. If I'm not going to get the credit, I'm not going to work on it. Which
Yes.
sounds totally horrible, but I was more horrible before than I am now. I like to think.
I remember going on some calls with you over the years, um, and you and I started talking about the importance of be having that team mentality,
Yes.
and it wasn't about, you know, hey, Milan did this or Mark did this, or and you and I started really embracing that whole team mentality where it's the we, not the I. And it's one of the things that I appreciated about you, because you would actually bring up things as you and I worked as a team. you would bring out strengths that I brought to the conversation. At the
Yeah.
same time, you know, I would bring out things that man, how did you think about this or that, and really being able to leverage each other's skills, kind of like when you're talking to teams, when you're coaching a team as a whole, recognize what everybody's strengths are and
Right.
leverage those strengths to go ahead and get the best results for the organization as a whole.
Man, Mark, that is gold. That is platinum. That is diamond studded. My goodness, my friends. That is great. No, I love that. I love that. Everything you
Yeah.
just said. I can go on a tangent about teams and identifying other people's strengths for the next 4 hours, but I know we both
Yes.
have to work tomorrow, or we
Yes.
both, how about this? We both get to work tomorrow doing our JEPP.
Yes, we do. You know,
Uh,
and that's a big thing right there. I love that because it's not about having to do X, Y, or Z. It's that we get to do, and we get to have a positive impact now on other people
yes.
in our ecosystem.
I wish I can high five you right now. Yes.
Boom,
Um,
boom.
um, and you know what else I've noticed recently is it seems like with the less stress and you know speaking specifically to those that will watch this podcast that are
Mhm,
maybe in sales or in an environment where they need to produce
mhm.
um, or create revenue, generate revenue.
Yeah,
I've noticed that ever since kind of like letting go of the ego more and really working as a team or in that team environment type of mentality,
yeah.
it's almost like you take a step back because you're in the weeds, like you're in the details with the
Mhm.
information, but it's almost like you're taking a step back and viewing it from as an outsider, the situation, and
Yes.
you're able to view the whole thing and really come up with, okay, here's their challenge, here's how it's impacting them or their business, their family, whatever it might be. And
Hmm.
then, okay, let's identify what is the best solution or the ideal solution for them
Yeah.
and being able to fix the issues they're having or the problems they're having versus I must sell this to make money. Well, the whole point of all that is what I've noticed is I take a step back or when we take a step back and look at it from the outside and really take the time and really cater specifically to what each person needs,
Hmm.
um, I think there's more success in that in the long term. Not only internally, the intrinsic success of I was able
Yeah.
to help somebody, but that external, like monetized or monetary type of
Yeah.
benefit versus I'm only listening to you because I want to close you on buying my product or buying my software or buying my solution versus let's talk. Like, yeah, let's talk, let's chit chat. Tell me your issues. And if I can't provide a solution for you, maybe my friend Mark can or Rob can or somebody else can.
Yes.
Versus, no, I must change your issue to fit what I sell, so you'll buy it from me. No.
Yes. It's funny you bring that up because there's there's a lot of conversations that I see in our ecosystem that people feel that they have some amazing products, and there are a lot of amazing products and solutions that are out there. But sometimes they're products or solutions looking for a problem,
Right.
you know. And it's like the concept is great, but what is what's the problem that exists today that it's trying to solve, rather than try and create a problem that
Right.
doesn't exist or may not be that important. And that's where I see a lot of solution providers that may have some great technology, but so does 75 other similar organizations have some really great technology as well.
Yeah, and I
Um,
can't. That's a great point, Mark. And I can't remember who said the quote, but and I'm going to paraphrase pretty much what you
yeah,
just said. But pretty much they said so many companies or so many people try to sell their customers or their clients on their own product and
yeah,
services versus creating a product or creating a service based on what your clients need. So like customizing it. And if you can't create it, then who out in the marketplace? Because there's a technology or there's a service, there's a solution, a product
yes,
for pretty much every problem imaginable. But it doesn't mean you or I or any in specific company needs to solve it. Maybe there's an outside company that can do a better job in solving it. It reminds me of did you ever watch the movie Miracle on 34th Street?
Oh, love it.
Yeah. So when the Santa Claus was sent, what was he? He was sending everybody to, was it Gimbals? Whoever the competitor
Yes.
was.
Uh-huh.
Oh, well, we don't have that toy. Oh, Susie or Johnny, they want that toy. We don't have that toy, but I think our competitor does. Go buy it from them.
Yes.
I think so many people are so scared to do that. Like, oh, with Calzilla, I sell outsourcing to Colombia and South Africa. But if somebody only requires, maybe they require only onshore. It's not
Mhm.
like, oh, sorry, I can't help you. Well, let me see who's out there. Maybe I can help you with
Yes.
a referral or help you, find a good solution. Who do I trust that has onshore only, or whatever it might be. Um, so yeah, more of how can we help people versus how can I add to my wallet.
You then become a trusted resource that when a similar problem comes up again, that person is going to call you again because you know what? You made a really great recommendation,
Yeah,
and didn't expect anything, in return for it. Okay. But you made a really good recommendation that helped me in my business. So you know what? If I have something that I need your assistance with, you're my first call. People are gonna remember that,
yeah.
you know.
So going back to JEPP, we brought it
Yep.
all the way around. Going back to JEPP,
Yes.
being able to help people on where they're at, what they need help with, brings us joy, brings us energy. We're energized because
Yes.
it's fulfilling. Obviously we're passionate about it. I mean, it's
Yes.
10 to 9 p.m. on a Sunday night, and I'm so passionate right now. Like I could start my workday from Monday right now. And there's
Hey,
that peace and there's purpose. We're fulfilling a purpose. Oh,
so
sorry.
Milan, would you say that somebody that's at a decision point in their careers or an inflection point in their careers, would you say that doing that introspective look at what brings you joy is probably the number one thing that they can do?
Yes, 100%. And not only take that introspective look and really identify what type of work would bring them joy, but then also, um, this is the second part's the hard part is once you realize, this brings me joy, but all of my training and my career for the last 20 years is in this. How can you either integrate all of this into what brings you joy or be willing to pursue a totally different career or a different path, a different journey as
Yes.
part of your journey? That's the hard part is
Yeah.
I've identified what gives me joy and it's not what I'm doing. So how do I get from here to here? And am I willing to make that leap? Because it is a leap. It could be a big change for some people. They may go from, I've been a director of operations for a contact center for the last 15 years, and I really love digital marketing. And it's like,
Yes.
okay, so how do I get from here to here? How do I get there? And am I willing to take the risk to go from there to the other side? Um, and not all the cases, not everybody's case is going to be, totally opposite or totally different. It could be
Yeah.
similar, but really, okay, yes, introspective look, what brings me joy, energy, passion, peace, purpose, all those things. But then really figuring out, like, in your mind, in your heart, like,
Yeah.
how can I make that transition? Or how can I make that move from point A to point B, especially if it's a big leap, if it's a big jump.
I've had conversations, over the last 20 years with actually people that I've reported up to,
Okay.
um, that have said, I've been in this industry for 25 plus years,
Yeah.
and I've worked either for this company for that amount of time or I've been in this industry for that amount of time. And I don't know where I would go if something happened, to my job.
Mm-hmm.
And having conversations with people like, in those situations, well, what are you passionate about? Figure out, you understand the skills that got you to where you had a
Right.
25 plus year career. Um, and all of those are transferable to any other industry. Um, you ask the right people, ask the right questions. You have a passion for doing the right thing by people, things like
That's a
that.
great point. That's a great
Yeah.
point. How will your skills translate to the job you really want to have, or the type of work you really want to be doing? Um, uh, and when you talk about like changing jobs, I wrote down a couple stats, and I want to make sure I give proper uh, credit. So, according to Bureau of Labor Statistics, individuals between 25 and 52 years of age will change jobs 6.2 times. And
Mhm.
according to, it was Harvard Business Review, half of people in America will change their career at least once. Now, not change
Yes.
jobs, but change their career. So completely
Yes.
change what they're doing to what they're doing. And according to Harvard Business Review, 90% of people in America as of 2022, would 90% would take less money for a more fulfilling job, a job that provides more purpose to their life, that intrinsic
Yes.
motivation. It's like that's a high percentage. 90% is very, very high.
Well,
Um,
and with Gen Z coming into the workplace and being the dominant generation, that's something that's hugely important, for them, for that generation or this generation to select who they want to work for.
yeah, absolutely. And you know what? When you talked about like tr- those skills that can translate, or those transferable skills,
Yep.
there's a book that I'll recommend to everyone watching. It's by Jia Zhang. His first name is Jia, last name is Jiang, but it's called Rejection Proof. And he had started develop. He wanted to be an entrepreneur. Moved to the U.S. from China. Wanted to be an entrepreneur. Developed an app. So software developer. Ended up going for funding. Things didn't work out. So he pretty much took his savings and went on this journey because he was rejected for funding and he felt like terrible about it. And so he's like, how do I overcome rejection? So he goes on this journey of 100 days of asking, and the stories he has are amazing. Like just asking the most random things. And actually, Mark, he was based in Austin, and
Really?
one of the days, yeah, one of the days he knocks on a total stranger's door, dressed as a soccer player with a soccer ball,
Mhm.
asking, can I play soccer by myself in your backyard? And the guy was so thrown off, he gave him permission. So he walked him through his house to the backyard and he kicked the ball around for like a half hour by himself while this guy was watching the Cowboys, he said.
Wow.
It's just
Wow.
how to overcome rejection. But part of it was one of the last things he did was helping his wife, who had, like, there was no way on her own she could get into Google as an employee. He helped her through connections and through the transferable skills she has or had. And who do you know at Google to be able to work things through to try to get her a job at Google? Now I'm not gonna. You got to read the rest, but
Right.
but that's what he tries to do. Is the last like 100th day of rejection proof is, and his goal was to be rejected 100 times, once a day for 100 days. And the stories of how people didn't reject him and how he overcame the being scared and all of that, because that's a big thing. Like even my big thing, and part of it's ego,
Yeah.
um, is, well, if I start my own company, like what if I fail? And it's like, well, and we've all seen the quotes, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, or, at least you tried, if you fail, at least you tried, better than not trying at all and wondering what if, and all those quotes. And it's like, yeah, just try. It is a nervous thing, or it can be nerve wracking or
You see,
worrisome to do, but
when I first started Brohawk Solutions, I did ask that question, well, what if I fail? And then I turned it around and said, well, what if I succeed?
right, right,
You know,
exactly,
what
yes,
if I'm successful? You
man,
know, um, and
and you
and I
got
think
it.
that's where I think the strength of, I mean, I know you've gone on some personal journeys,
Mhm.
as well as some professional journeys, and I know that the personal journeys weren't as easy as what the outcomes, will outwardly show, today. I mean, it was a lot of work. Um,
Well,
but
that's why I now get up 7 days a week at 5 a.m. to hit the gym.
yes, exactly. But
But now it's
if you would have thought when you started that, well, this isn't gonna end like everything else I've ever tried before,
yeah,
you know. Um, but having the mentality of, man, what if this actually is successful? What if I'm
Right.
successful at this? And hats off to you, Milan. Um,
Thank
I know that you and I have we've gone for close to 45 minutes, I think, on this topic, and I know in person, we're going to get a chance to spend some time in person in Las Vegas at Call and Contact Center Expo. I
you.
think you're
Yes, sir.
speaking at that too, aren't you?
Well, Wednesday at 11 a.m. Yeah, talking
Excellent,
about human behaviors. Let's go.
excellent. Was it square peg in a round hole?
Yeah, you know what's funny? I thought it was round peg in a square hole, and somebody told
Uh-huh.
me that makes no sense. Why would it be a round peg in a square hole? How do you make a square hole? So I Google imaged it, like those kids' blocks with the squares. I'm like, here's your square
Yes,
hole. But no,
nice,
it means
nice.
stop forcing square pegs into round holes. That is correct.
I love it. I love it. So if you're going to be at Call and Contact Center Expo, the last week of April, and you're seeing this, definitely drop by and check out Milan's session. Now we've gotten to the point of our call or of our conversation, what I like to call the speed round.
We do? Oh
Um,
yeah, yeah, speed round. I forgot.
yes,
Let's do
yes.
this.
So
Okay,
I
here
mean,
we go.
you've given so much, like gold in this conversation. So now I'm going to come back and ask you some tough questions.
Okay, here we go. Hold on. Let me prepare myself. All right, I'm ready. Here we
All
go.
right.
Here we
If you could choose to stop aging at any age, which would you choose? What age would you choose?
go. 39 right now, today. I would stop
39?
right now because I am having the time of my life with what I'm doing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Um,
That was easier than
uh,
I thought.
yeah, you see, that wasn't too bad. It's not too bad. So after you've had a stressful day, and I know you're not going to have any more stressful days at all in your life. Um, yeah,
Never, never.
yeah. It's not like you have a young child or anything that's going to create some stress for you. Just kidding.
He's
Uh,
been in his first 6 months of life. He's been perfect. So I don't know what you're talking about, Mark. And people
yes.
are like, wait till he's a teenager. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just froze time
And
at age 39. That means he's gonna be 6 months forever.
there you go. There you go. Hey, at least he's sleeping through the night at 6 months.
Yes, yes.
So, what's your go-to tactic for unwinding after a stressful day?
So I'm in Wisconsin. So during
Uh-huh.
the warmer months, which aren't here yet, it was snowing yesterday. Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
During the
Really?
warmer, yeah, during the warmer months, a bike ride or a hike.
Okay.
I love hiking, just getting out in nature and unwinding with a hike. The scenery, all that, or going out for like a bike ride. I love cycling.
Mhm.
If it's during the winter, um, I'll maybe play some video games.
Okay.
Um, yeah, yeah, I think that's read. Well, now over the last 6 months, get a hold the little guy.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. That's awesome. That's awesome. So everybody, well, not everybody, a lot of people will reflect back onto their younger days, and there's always a memory that just kind of puts a smile on your face, and it could be something that you did to your parents, or you and a bunch of friends may have just done hanging out, or whatever. But what childhood memory always puts a smile on Milan's face?
Oh man. Oh man. Oh man. It's just so hard. So I'll give you the first one that popped in my head when you asked the
Okay.
question, okay? Because like 4 or 5 of them popped in my head. I'll give you the first one. So I was growing up in Indiana, boiler up, and did you catch that or no?
Mhm.
Okay, so growing up in the great state of Indiana, the state where the
Yes.
Purdue Boilermakers play, I was,
Yes.
let's see, I was probably 8, maybe 9 years old, and I'm
Okay.
outside. We were living in the country, subdivision in the middle of the country between two little towns.
Okay.
But we were about 2.5 hours northwest of Indianapolis, about an hour and a half southeast of Chicago.
Okay.
And well, I'm outside playing, and all of a sudden the sky goes from sunny to black, and it's like 4 in the afternoon during the summer, and the
And
sky's
you know
black.
what's happening.
Yeah, well, and I didn't really know, so I'm like, oh man, what's going on? So I remember we had like an acre out by the road. My parents were selling a minivan, and all I
Okay.
remember was I saw a flash of lightning, and I was intrigued. And so I went and climbed on top of the hood of the minivan, and I sat there as the rain downpoured on me, and listening to the crackling of the thunder and watching the lightning, and then hearing my mom screaming at me from the house saying to come in because there was lightning. I'm sitting on a metal van. Um, that always brings a smile to my face because I one of the things I love, 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 love is storms. Absolutely love storms. I mean, here's a meteorology, how to read, what is it called? Meteorologist knowledge on my wall right here.
Yes.
Um, so that's what triggered me to go to college for atmospheric and oceanic sciences for meteorology. In Wisconsin, they have a fancy name, atmospheric and oceanic
Yes.
science. Um, but that always puts a smile on my face because to this day, I absolutely love thunderstorms. I love chasing tornadoes. I love doing all that. So that
Yes.
was the first memory. Like when you said, what's a memory from your childhood that brings a smile to your face? Like when I fell in love with storms and sitting on that metal van and not understanding why my mom made such a big deal about during a lightning storm sitting on
Uh-huh.
metal. At that age, I did not understand.
Man, so when Milan tries that, when your son tries it, you know, then you're gonna be like, oh no, 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 no. I've been there,
Yeah,
done that.
yeah. I don't want anybody to call the authorities on me, but a couple weeks ago, him and I were standing by the front door during a thunderstorm, and then the
Yep.
tornado siren went off, and then we did, find shelter. Don't worry, everybody.
Yes.
Um, but he was like taking it all in, and I'm like,
Nice.
future, 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 buddy. We're
Yes.
gonna go storm chasing.
I love it. I love it. So, Milan, thank you once again for your time. I mean, it is,
Thank you.
we're recording this on a Sunday night, and I
Oh,
really appreciate it. Um, if someone wants to pick your brain, potentially discuss speaking opportunities, for
yeah.
their organization or their group, with you, how can they go ahead and get in contact with you?
Yeah, so they can find me on LinkedIn. They can go to
Mhm.
milanmotivates.com and reach out to me through there. They can email me. It's very, very, very easy. It's milan@milanmotivates.com. You
Nice.
can find me on Facebook, Instagram. Yeah. Okay,
Awesome.
so technically Milan, the person has a Twitter account, but I haven't been on there in a very, very long time. Um, but you can reach out to me because I think my email, I'll get alerted that somebody reached out to me on Twitter. Um, so yeah, so Milan at milanmotivates.com or just go to milanmotivates.com. Find me and Mark. We can grab a drink out in Vegas this upcoming week. If you're part of SoCap, I'll be at the Spring Symposium. I'll be speaking there as well in Columbus, Ohio the following week. And
Excellent.
yeah, and if it's still snowing in May in Wisconsin, maybe I'll find my way south to Texas again, Mark.
Come on down, my friend. Come on down. This is, as always. I mean, it's a great conversation. When you and I are able to get together, and I know we have some conversations that we're going to be having like later this week. With some amazing people as well. And I if anybody wants an introduction, they're like, hey, I want to reach out to Milan, but does he do this, that, or the other thing? you know, feel free to ping me. I'll do the intro for you as well. I mean, Milan and I go way back, and I've seen it. I can give true testimonials as far as the effectiveness and the impact that he has with some of his speaking engagements. So,
Well, I
Milan,
appreciate
thank you very much. I really
it.
appreciate your
Thank
time.
you, my friend. This was great. This was great. I was a little like 8 o'clock on a Sunday night. I don't know. Will I be awake? And man, yes, I'm so glad we did this on a Sunday night. This was great.
Yeah, well, I appreciate your time and your flexibility with your schedule, and looking forward to seeing you out once again at Call and Contact Center Expo, where get to see you present in front of a group of people again.
Looking forward to seeing y'all as well.
All
Thanks
right.
again, Mark.
Hey, thank you, and if you like this video, feel free to go ahead and subscribe, like, comment, whatever, and just show us that you enjoyed the content. And we look forward to talking to everybody again here soon. Thanks.